The Gorecast is brought to you by American Horrors, the greatest uncut horror channel in the world. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all horror.
Also brought to you by iBleedIndie.com, your one-stop shop for all your horror rentals and purchases. Don't waste $10 on a soda, relax at home with iBleedIndie.com.
As well as the Station of Decapitation Without Your Head.
America's longest running horror channel, www.withoutyourhead.com.
The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
Hello and welcome to the Gorecast, back this week on the old Emerald Gore Society Facebook page. We're also streaming live on Twitter and telling everyone on Twitter to come over and join us on Facebook.
Because it's scary over there.
Because we're old school.
Yes, very much.
Because Twitter's kind of where it's at now all of a sudden. So, as is the mandatory custom, I'm going to just go and start posting this to pages and things like that. We have lots of super exciting news and things like that coming up.
Yeah, there's some cool little tidbits. Shall we get started with a bit of news?
Okay, do your thing. Breaking news.
Oh, ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-da. Breaking news!
News.
Haha! Okay, so a couple of exciting little tidbits came out this week, mainly in the last couple of days. Exciting news for horror gamers, well, for gamers in general, and that is the fact that Netflix have announced that they're going to be doing a TV show of The Witcher. Now, I'm not going to lie, I can't remember if it's supposed to be animated or live action. I'm sure it's going to be probably live action. Now, the interesting thing about that is this isn't the first time someone's done a live action version of The Witcher. No! You see, once upon a time, back in 2002, there was a Polish version of The Witcher known as the Hexer, which, I'm not going to lie, was absolutely fragging diabolical. Now, bear in mind, I've never actually played the games. I've seen some of the cutscene movies, and
I have played the games. They're freaking amazing.
I'm aware of how in-depth the story is, of how massively popular the character is, the world they're driven from is. I'm also very, very aware of the fact that the old 2002 The Hexer series, to say it took liberties with stuff would be a woeful fucking understatement. I mean, like, I was living with a Polish guy at the time, and he's actually who told me about it, and he even said, I'm a fan of the games, I'm a fan of the books, I'm only telling you about this TV series so that you know it exists. It is a pile of shite. But as I said, that was the 2002 version, which was called The Hexer, which, funnily enough, all the episodes are up on YouTube, except the movie, which starts it off. There was kind of a movie, and then there was a series, and two of them kind of had different continuities. So I'm kind of curious to know if Netflix, maybe they'll do the same thing. Maybe they'll do kind of a movie to start things off, or they'll just kick straight into the series. But either way...
from what I saw, it was just a series.
Yeah, well, in either case...
Keep talking there for a minute, and I'll finish doing this, and then I want to double-check about the live actioniness of it.
Oh, well, no, to be perfectly honest, I would be surprised if they were going the animated route. Mainly because...
Netflix will surprise you, buddy.
Well, no, it's not that. It's mainly because a few weeks ago they've already announced that they are going to be doing a video game cartoon crossover, and that's going to, or adaptation. And that's going to be Castlevania, which they've already pegged at being a very dark, very mature... Yes, indeed. A very dark, very mature take on things.
Well, the thing with a lot of people here about when they hear animation is they start thinking kids. Now, if you take a look at a lot of the animations that they've had out there recently, like Attack on Titan is not really a kids.
It's also Japanese animation.
Whereas I'm just talking. I'm clumping animation into one general category here, just for the sake of talking Netflix for a second.
Okay.
But they've handled some really mature content storylines through the media of animation.
Oh yeah,
that have been done really, really, really well. So it's just in case someone sees, The Witcher animation, meh. Don't.
Well, as I said, to be perfectly honest.
Back to this.
To be perfectly honest, I'm inclined to think that it is a live action series, mainly because they are doing a horror related anime series already, and that's going to be, as I said, Castlevania. So I'd find it. Well, I'd be surprised if they were releasing 2 dark cartoons, if you get me. Especially considering. Oh no, that's not them. So never mind. Yeah. Generally speaking, with the animated stuff from Netflix, it's good, and adults can get into it. Most particularly, I think Voltron, whereby if you're like me, you're an old school fan of old cartoons, and you can sit down with
Voltron.
Defender of the Universe. And it's like the new version is good. So if they did decide to do the animated route with The Witcher, I'm sure it would be good. But I'm still, as I said, the live action stuff was done before, back in 2002. So I'd imagine they'd probably do the similar line of things this time around. Now, funnily enough, The Witcher is not the only new show to be kind of talked about from Netflix.
No. Netflix have a mighty amount of stuff.
Actually, the one that's really got me interested, because I'm an old school fan of, well, to be perfectly honest, puppetry, and so yeah, the next one would have to be The Dark Crystal. Yay! We got a thingy.
Yeah. Any minute now. I'll get it in a sec. Sorry, dude. I'm doing the sharing thing.
I know, which is why we need a third person, because this is just fucking annoying.
Yeah, we're recruiting, for the love of God.
Sorry, we had a bunch of really cool stuff, and because he's been busy doing stuff, we haven't been able to show you any of the cool stuff, so fuck it. The Dark Crystal is by far and away one of Jim Henson's most...
What's the name of the character? I'll just reenact it. It's probably quicker now.
No,
What's the name of the character?
Lord Chamberlain.
Okay, so he goes Dark Crystal, and then I click to a thing where it's Lord Chamberlain, and he goes,
because that's what Lord Chamberlain does. He always does this whine and kind of Anyway, fuck it. The Dark Crystal is by far and away Jim Henson's most visually intriguing, if not full-on darkest fucking story. Now, bear in mind, there has been a couple of really cool dark stuff done in association with Jim Henson Studios, but when you think of the fact that this entire film, there's no live action anything. It is 100% old school puppetry. I can only imagine that when it comes to the new Netflix series, which is going to be a prequel series, The Age of Resistance, I imagine it's going to be the exact same fucking thing, whereby you have some of the darkest characters, that being the Skeksis themselves, in a world that they, quite honestly, distort. For those that aren't familiar with the Dark Crystal, the whole notion is that there is this fantastical fantasy world that's pretty much split down the line. You have the dark Skeksis, and then you have the light, which is like these guardians. The Skeksis rule the entire planet. They have turned various races into their slave races. They live eternally by draining the life force from these slave races. So it really, like, when you
it was a pretty dark story, even though it was all done with Jim Henson puppets.
But the puppets looked dark and creepy.
Oh yeah, they weren't kiddie-esque.
No,
by any means. Some were.
It's a kids' film. You know, I mean, you can't say anything else. It was a kids' film, so it is one of those kids' films.
Packaging. Kids' film and packaging.
Well, even the approach to how they told the story. I mean, yeah, an adult can sit down and go, "Oh, that's dark," but you know, there's levity in it. There's light moments in it. There's music in it. You know, which lasts all of 10 minutes before the Skeksis troopers kind of the Bothan or whatever they call it. Yeah, Bothan. I think that was the name of it.
I won't lie to you. It has been a phenomenal amount of time since I've seen Dark Crystal.
Same with me, but I do remember stuff. But these giant crab creatures, which were once again scary as fuck, come raiding in. What's funny, well, without getting too much into the backstory of the Dark Crystal, for those that haven't seen it, because fucking go watch it. There was
it's not new.
No, it is quite old.
There was plenty of time.
Yeah, there was basically one kind of like celestial race, and then they kind of split themselves, and so you get the Skeksis, and you get that other light race, which I'm calling the Guardians. I probably have the name wrong, shamans or whatever the fuck. But so I imagine the Age of Resistance could have been. It's probably going to document that original split. Might even go back far enough that we find out the origins of the crystal itself, which wasn't always dark. as you kind of the crystal splitting, the crystal like a chunk of it getting cut out is what kind of led to the split, because the celestial beings are tied in with the life force of the crystal itself. So it'll be very interesting to see how far back they go. Do they take it from the split, or do they take it whereby we see how that split happened? I mean, either way, it'll be interesting to see what races were around before the Skeksis really got in and wiped shit out. Because, well, no, there's alluding to other races. You have the witch. I want to say Magda, but I might be wrong. Who has clearly been knocking around a while, and whose species, whose entire race, was clearly wiped out.
Yeah.
The main protagonist, the main.
Nearly back with you.
What?
I'm nearly back with you.
Nearly. The Gelf, which is what the species of the main hero of the story, they were definitely wiped out. But that kind of happens. I'd imagine that would happen later on, if anything, because it's definitely happened within this kid's lifespan, and he's only supposed to be like 15 or 16, something like that. The usual heroic teenager off to save the world, haha. But I'm curious to see what characters they develop that could kind of go up against the Skeksis for however long that lasts. Probably the development of a lot of the tools that Skeksis use. Certainly, I imagine the sadistic development of their life force and how they drain it from what they view as lesser species. Their own hierarchy. There are certain rituals and things that are clearly well developed in the film. So it would be interesting to see how their society came about. And the same can be said for the Guardians. This very peaceful shamanic race that's in touch with nature, that's in touch with the life force, and that you can see is clearly split from that aspect of the...
I'm very much looking forward to seeing the series because, as I mentioned, like Netflix has been handling most of the reboot stuff that they've been doing relatively well.
As the Voltron cartoon is awesome.
Voltron cartoon's awesome. I'm a little bit on the fence with Riverdale.
Well, I was never a big Archie fan anyway. I always prefer the Groovy Ghoulies. Hooah!
Indeedly.
Yeah.
Also, on another bit of news, speaking of reboots, Labyrinth.
It's not a reboot.
Well, it's a sequel.
Yes! And it's another Jim Henson
okay, it's not
property
literally
that
a
rocks!
reboot. Yeah, okay, we'll use Jim Henson as the tie-in. That makes a lot more sense, actually. So, what I like about this is instead of them doing the sequel and recasting Jared, they've done a very smart thing where basically in the universe that they're in, there's been a war, and Jared's sister?
It's not really said. At the moment, they're working with a character that they're calling the Goblin Queen.
Yeah, that's it. Yes.
I want it to be your one. I want it to be Jennifer Connelly's character, Susie.
Dark Susie. Well, she seems to be coming back as her.
Which is why I want I'd love for the Goblin Queen to be full on fucking split down the middle personality, and this is what Jared was trying to.
What if it was kind of like a devil's advocate kind of situation where she ends up back in the labyrinth and going up against the Goblin Queen, but she ends up taking over. But instead of what you think's going to happen, where she is really nice, it turns out that the whole place just corrupts her anyway, and she just ends up being the Goblin Queen.
So that's a paradox that you want to happen. Time travel. But we're not dealing with paradoxes. It's far more likely to have a split personality caused by magical transference from dimension.
There's a Back to the Future remake happening, so all of these things could...
Actually, what I think is...
all of these things are viable things now again.
Okay, now the thing is, the rumours of a Labyrinth sequel have been around for, to be perfectly honest,
a decade.
Not quite that long, but certainly 2 or 3 years. Most of them, I think, sparked by Toby. The kid.
Yeah.
Because...
who looks like he's back in it as well.
Yeah, he's going to be grown up because he was like the son...
It's like where Alex Vince shows up at the end of... can't remember which Chucky movie it is.
Curse.
Curse of Chucky. The woman in the wheelchair, isn't
Curse of Chucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great movie, by the way.
The kid, Toby, I can't remember the actor's name, but his parents, he was the kid of, I think, people that worked in Jim Henson Studios or story developers.
Yeah.
You remember? But the point is that he was mad interested. It came from him, the original notion of redoing this thing, or it came from his parents, one or t'other. But the Labyrinth the Labyrinth sequel is gone from being, oh, it'd be nice if they do that, oh, some people want to get it done, to, oh, well, this is going to be happening. And as I said, I am a big fucking fan of Jim Henson. Love pretty much everything Jim Henson has ever done. Fraggle Rock, Muppet Show, Storytellers! Jim Henson's the Storytellers with John Hurt made me want to be a fucking storyteller.
Literally anything Jim Henson is amazing.
Which is why the darker stuff, Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, I think those are the times when you really get to show off what can be done when it comes to puppetry, because you get to create characters that, okay, once again, we've had this conversation, well, I don't know if we've done it on the Gorecast, I think we have, whereby we've talked about the...
We haven't done an official episode. That's another thing.
Yeah.
You'll find out.
But whereby we've weighed up the pros and cons of CGI versus practical effects. Now, in this day and age, it would be very, 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 very fucking easy to do Labyrinth and to do Dark Crystal, and, well, it's obvious Witcher's going to be mainly CGI heavy, but...
Yeah. Because they have a fairly hefty video game based universe to work off of.
That being said, right, I would find it difficult to enjoy a Dark Crystal or a Labyrinth sequel or reboot or whatever way you want to call it. I'd find it very, very difficult to enjoy anything that was once done by Jim Henson without it being very practical effects heavy. And to be perfectly honest, I
would have to totally agree with you.
Well, for the Dark Crystal especially, I would...
For both of them, I mean, like, leaving Dark Crystal aside for a moment, Labyrinth, outside of Bowie's performance, one of the main things that it was known for were the awesome puppets. Do you know what I mean?
The world, this awesome puppet-based world that was created.
Yeah, it was like absolutely amazing. Same with Dark Crystal. And I would totally agree with, or have to totally agree with you, that, because we don't agree a lot if you're a first-time watcher. Yeah. But I feel that it just will lose some of its magic if it's all plastered CGI.
See, here's the thing, right? And this is what I was trying to... With the...
No, they could do the Shin Godzilla thing, where...
Yeah. That's kind
accentuate what you got with a little bit of flavour. Excuse me.
Now, you see, the thing is, right, with Labyrinth sequel, because there is a human aspect in it, I would imagine that will probably be the approach. I imagine that would be the approach that I bet on them taking, whereby they have to incorporate the practical effects because it is a real person interacting with them, with things being enhanced by a bit of CGI. Now, when it gets to the Dark Crystal and Netflix's approach to it, while I am fairly confident that they will do things the way that they were done for the original film, in that we will be treated to an entire world of animatronic awesomeness, unfortunately,
so anyway.
Unfortunately, because of the nature of that world and because there is no live action human interaction at any point, there is a massive fucking temptation to do the entire thing CGI. It's right there.
No.
You know?
No, don't do it.
Now, by that respect, since the innovation of full-on CGI cartoons in the glory days of Reboot, more so, I suppose, with Roughnecks the Starship Troopers cartoon, which was the first thing to actually have human CGI, like human-based CGI characters. Since then, we have seen a plethora of CGI cartoons. Off the top of my head, at the moment, one of the best ones going has to be, for me, Red versus Blue, which is Chronicles, Halo.
There was a very good CGI Resident Evil series.
Yes. Now, here's what I'm getting to.
Which we should...
Oh, we're going to,
cover.
because there's
that's
a new
really
one.
more of an Anna Nightmares thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's a new one coming out that you might want to cover in Anna Nightmares, which is out Thursdays, a live stream that happens at 10 or 11 GMT, I can't remember.
It roughly bounces around because my co-host is American, so...
Yeah. Anyway, the point is this, right?
It happens on a Thursday, though.
Yeah.
After 11. Somewhere.
Ish. The point is this.
The 11 to 1 mark, if we were to pencil it in. The point is...
We all want to see The Dark Crystal be a complete series done in the style of the original movie, which is 100% puppet-based world. However,
I'll take
would
75-25.
No, forget that, because if you're going to do it, you might as well do it the whole fucking hog. Given the nature of the characters, given the potential nature of the story, I would be willing to accept a full-on CGI animated series.
Wow, you flipped there completely. You just...
Yeah, I know I did. Because I
does
thought
it not lose its Jim Hensoniness if... Are we talking about Dark Crystal or are we talking about... Okay, sorry, I thought we were on.
Oh, Labyrinth is going to have to be full-on animatronic or fucking puppetry.
Yeah, but they're both Henson.
They are, but the difference is, whereas the Labyrinth will have human components, live-action components, the Dark Crystal won't, which means that there is that leeway. They can go either way. I would love for them to do it, but the reason they might not is expense. The sheer expense of building the physical world, of making all the puppets, the different characters, because this isn't a film, this is a series. So
Right.
imagine there's going to be a lot of turnover for characters, a lot of turnover for the puppets. While a lot of them will be used, reused, they're going to have to, there's going to be times when...
It's not like Netflix are short on cash at the moment.
This is true. It's one of the reasons why I'm not saying straight off that they're not. You know, it's one of the reasons why I am hopeful and confident that they probably will go the full puppet world route. But the door is still there. It is feasible, and it wouldn't be... As I said, I suppose it would be acceptable as long as it was done right and as long as the story was treated right for it to be a 100% animated route. Now, I wouldn't like to see it being done 2D, regardless of how much of a fan I am of 2D animated stuff. I do think 3D animation would be the way to go in this factor.
If you agree with him, I don't. As I mentioned earlier, this happens a lot. If you agree with him, post in the comments below. We are actually capable of talking to you, because no one's talking. People are watching, but no one's talking.
That's a double-edged sword, by the way.
And on that, we're going to cut away to trailer from a sponsor, and then we're going to come back with a movie review. A very good movie review. So, time for the trailer sponsor, Heartbeat Fisher's American Horrors. All horror 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Okay.
Lads, I'm so fucking bored. Weird. I don't remember turning the TV on.
Welcome to the new American Horror Channel on Roku. Streaming 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all night, all day, all horror. Hi, I'm Hart D. Fisher. As owner and operator of the world's greatest uncut 24 hours a day, 7 days a week horror channel, American Horrors, it's my job to let you know that I'm choking to death on this smoke. Okay, we're still rolling, right?
And we're back, scratching noses and rubbing beards.
Okay, so next up we're going to review
Movie
film.
review.
Yeah.
Movie review.
Now, here's the thing, right? We here at the Gorecast have said it time and time and time again that we just absolutely fucking hate this whole drawn out, useless, inconsequential waffle that tends to go on for like an hour and a half before fucking stuff actually happens in a movie. Fortunately, that's not the case here.
I'd say about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes in,
Yeah.
this movie's absolutely cracking. So first of all, I must point out that this little beauty is set in a strip club.
Absolutely. You seem pretty cheery. Strippers, Sammy. Strippers. We are on an actual case involving strippers. Finally.
My thoughts exactly.
Yeah. So, here's a question. What happens when some genuinely talented and intelligent people decide that they're going to deliberately go ahead and make this cheesy, brainless...
I wouldn't call it
Hang on, bear with me. Deliberately make a cheesy, brainless, cliched, one-line filled B-movie. you get a pile of excellence called peelers. I mean, it was brilliant.
It's an absolute entertainment riot from start to finish.
Yeah, witty one-liners, awesome gore and violence, characters that you're
I
actually.
see what you mean about the cheese. It's good cheese.
Yeah, it's cheddar.
It's like cheddar. No, like easy singles cheddar. I'm talking like off a block cheddar.
Easy singles cheddar is still good.
I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, there is a cheese scale, dude. Don't even get me. Anyway, we got good violence, fantastic one-liners. I mean, some really good, snappy.
Thanks for saying me rock, laughing.
Some really snappy one-liners. There are times when there's cliched stuff in it where you're going, and there's times when you're kind of going, that's kind of stupid. And then, do you know what? They either explain it or they admit it and point out themselves it's stupid and they rock on with it. It's in a, why did that? We don't even care. Why did that work? We don't even care. Just go.
Like, overall synopsis of the movie would be, you start off in a strip club, you meet the main lady whose name is Blue Jeans.
Billie Jean.
It's Blue Jeans.
Oh. Never, ever call her BJ.
No, you'll find out why. But it's her last night in the strip club. She's selling it and she's getting ready to hop off out of town.
It's the last night of the club.
Well, supposedly at the time, she's not aware that he's going to shut down the club. This is all plot stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, then some guys who are in celebrating decide to come in and celebrate.
Yep.
Then some shit goes fucking crazy because they've been sticking their fingers in things they shouldn't be sticking it in. And then
funny thing to say about when you're talking about a film set in a strip club, because there is a strict no hands, no touching policy,
and
which gets enforced in one of the scenes.
And what they had their fingers in had nothing to do with the strip club. It happened exterior of the strip club and not even with a person. So I'm not even getting bad that way. You know what I'm on about.
Yeah. It was all gooey and sticky though.
And then basically it turns into this absolutely like alien possession demon zombie movie.
I'm going to
because you never find out what actually happens to them.
Well,
so
no, you do. There is a bit of an explanation, and I liked it insofar as
I think it's aliens.
No, it's nature.
Oh, okay. I thought, I feel like it's aliens though. It could be because I've seen the X-Files. It just reminds me of the black goopy stuff from the X-Files.
What's his name? The guy that's buying the place.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know who you're on about. He'd be like the Boss Hog kind of character.
He has a name, Cro-Magnon.
Colt Magnum.
No, Cro-Magnon.
Colt Magnum.
Anyway, he describes it as nature's latest fuck you to humanity, wherein by people kind of get a little bit, I'm going to say, lose inhibitions and decide, screw this for a tub of shit, I'm going to do what I want, and what I want is slaughter everything around me, which I can totally get behind.
That was terrifying.
Yeah, but it gives way to some fantastic death scenes. I mean, there are things...
When we say about the cheesiness of this, it's in a totally cheesy,
high-grade, mature tasting cheddar.
No, the reason I bring this up again is because the actual way the story plays out and the fight scenes play out are absolutely so intelligently tied together. There's not a beat missed during the film where you're bored at all. It's like constantly go.
It's actually the dialogue that shows, you know what? It's the dialogue that makes you go, huh, this is, oh my god, this has got good fucking witty one-liners and dialogue. Because 9 times out of 10, you get a film like this, and to be perfectly honest, it's the dialogue that lets it down. Because you get the cheesy, cliched one-liners, and you're left there going, heh.
No, there's some genuine jaw-dropping one-liners.
And it's the timing of stuff, you know? It's kind of like, you're expecting a line, and then you get a line, but it's so much better than the line you thought you were going to be getting. It's like, that was great. And then some of the death scenes.
Some of the death scenes are cool. You would be expecting, judging by other movies where strippers have been heavily involved, that a kind of a shallow bunch of a main cast. There's actually some really, real good depth behind them.
Yeah.
Real good bits of backstory. Even like some of the stuff they do on stage is absolutely just
do you want to know
comical.
Do you want to know what I liked?
Sorry, I seem to have an eyelash in my eye, not around my eye.
I was going to say you have your finger in your eye. Do you want to know what I liked? The respect that was shown by employees for each other, and more importantly, by the customers of the bar towards the employees.
Yeah.
Now, as I said, at one point there's mention of these two boys, they're getting a private dance, and there's a strict, you just hear your one kind of going, hands, a little bit of a, and that's it, right? And there's a couple other things like that. And the reason why I find this impressive is because films like this, it's very easy to go the full-on exploitation route, whereby you get lines that are being done deliberately.
Well, you find with the exploitation route, this is just a little play on words here, but you find the exploitation route that they will have the word strippers in the title.
Not always, but
they like to paint it as it is on the tin, whereas this isn't a movie about strippers.
Yeah, but this
just happens to take place in a strip club.
Well, yeah, and as I said, regardless of that, I mean, there's been a couple of films whereby zombie strippers and zombies. The point being that because of the nature of where they are, it allows a certain puerile sense of humour to come into it, especially when in regards to dialogue and the witty one-liners. Like I said, you're watching this and you're expecting them to say this because you've seen that kind of thing being said before, and instead they say something completely different, which is hilarious and which maybe doesn't rely on the fact they're in a strip bar, or maybe doesn't rely on the notion of being a stripper as degrading or kind of a degrading job to have or anything like that. Quite the opposite.
Which also brings into a big point before anyone starts giving out. Even though it's a movie totally set in a strip club, the main lady, Blue Jeans, is, if there's any women in horror speak about it, because this woman she runs the place. She kind of nearly would remind you of, this is going to sound like a weird analogy, but you know the way like back in the Wild West, do you remember the way they had kind of like the brothels and like the madam in the brothel because they...
That's not a weird analogy. That's an accurate one, and it's not the Wild West. It started off in other places.
No, but the women of the brothel are half the reason the Wild West got built into the place it was, and they turned into towns opposed to them just being a bunch of mines, because they actually had money and they started to reinvest money into shops and everything like that, and they actually, in a weird way, which is why you'd find that even though women didn't have the highest regard back then at the time, they always paid respect to the madam and the girls because they were the ones that were keeping the flow of cash going through. And this is what Blue Jeans is like. She's kind of like
Are you sure it's not Billie Jean?
I'm 100% sure it's Blue Jeans. Then Billie Jean is a song by Michael Jackson.
It's also, more potentially an actual name.
Blue Jeans.
Okay.
But anyway,
she's not your lover.
Blue Jeans is like a kind of a pillar of the society in her own weird way. Like the cops all respect her. They're all sad to see the place going down because it seems like seems to be one of the only few places in town guys can go to let off a bit of steam.
I don't know about sad, but there's clearly a nice little cat and mouse thing where kind of like the place is shutting down. Sorry about that.
Yep.
Ambivalent.
The cinematography in it is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. That was one of the first things we noticed. The film came on and it was like, whoa, holy crap, this is actually like fucking...
real cool Steadicam shots. Brilliant fight sequences.
Yeah.
The monster reveals were fantastic. The special effects makeup in this is absolutely epic, by the way, and a lot of practical effects. Maybe a little bit of fake blood, CGI blood, but I can leave CGI blood.
Oh yeah, there's one or two times that yeah.
But oh my god, like the music in it, fantastic. Really cool dynamic between herself and the
dances in it are always awesome.
The dances in it are some are awesome, some are just freaking hilarious.
Actually, sorry, just a sidebar, right? And just getting back to the whole dialogue and character development thing. I loved the new girl and the way she's like all shy and stuff, and then she's not.
Yes.
You actually feel like you're watching a girl's first time on the job, and it's brilliant. It just...
Tell you what, we're going to cut to a trailer for the movie, and then we'll come back and we'll finish doing a little talkaroo about Peter's. Click it.
Evening, Carl. Come by for a closing night?
You know, it's not going to be the same around here without you.
Oh, I'm sure you'll find another place to harass and annoy.
Magnum's here.
What are you doing here?
Just came down. Dot a few I's, crossed a few T's. He won.
I think he's just gonna tear this whole place down.
Don't let that green bag destroy all the great memories of this place.
So you guys working over at Pisha Ranch Mine?
Yeah.
Well, how come I haven't seen you here before?
Tonight we're celebrating. It's the cowboy's birthday.
I think it's something toxic. I don't know. Oily and slimy to the touch.
Shit, that cut back. Sorry about that. I don't know how that happened.
Because your finger slipped.
Wait, you didn't have to say it. Yeah, my finger slipped. Sorry about that. But like, go over to their Facebook page and stuff and check out the rest of the trailer there. It's absolutely brilliant. Sorry about that. Whoops.
You can at least get a feel for what we mean about the cinematography. Bit of
We're
story.
pretty much near the end of the trailer there anyway,
Yeah.
if memory serves me correctly. That was so annoying. Sorry about that. You can't tell because we're really well lit, but I'm going red.
Yeah. To be perfectly honest, Peters is another case of us kind of seeing a film, kind of going, okay, we'll check it out, and then kind of going, this is really good. The ending of
Well,
it.
I said we'll check it out because I've seen rave reviews for it already. So
the ending of it is one of those occasions where the film, no word of a lie, when the film ends, I actually went, and then we had a cool little stick around for it. Yeah, there's a lovely after credit
There's a
scene.
great after credit scene. It's fantastic, and you obviously know what happens at the after credit scene now by the way he's clapping, but there's some fantastic backstory that I won't get into as to why you're mad to see the after credit scene, but it's
everything is set up really, really well.
Yeah, it's actually it's got all of the elements of what makes it really good horror because like unless you're going 100% up that real serious route, and even like the Friday the 13th and Halloween's and stuff, they had their own little
more so Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th, especially after
Nightmare on Elm
number.
Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street definitely did. That was all down to the
Where
character.
what we're talking about is the notion of bringing in comedic elements into a horror movie.
The comedy timing in this is absolutely number one. Not just like standoutish comedy that makes no sense. It's like really applicable to the characters and stuff, and absolutely so well timed.
There, I mentioned earlier how in a film like this there is the temptation to go the kind of the childish puerile route. Oh, they're in a titty bar. Now the thing is, there's a couple of times when they do that, but in such a way that it's not puerile. Shit goes sideways, and one of the characters has been basically talked up as being you don't mess with him. So they need weapons, and they go to check out this guy's store, and they find a couple of things, and it's a case of what the fuck is this guy into? And just the way it's done is hilarious.
It's a chef, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a great character. He's kind of like a what was he? Filipino? He's like a Filipino Gordon Ramsay.
He is.
Yeah.
He really is.
I'm terribly sorry if I got your ethnicity wrong. I'm pretty sure he was like Filipino.
If Gordon Ramsay went out, killed his own livestock, and by livestock I don't mean cows and sheep, there are trophies up on that wall.
Oh Lord.
What?
Nothing.
But as I said, it's things like that that basically take a film that could be otherwise just your average cheesy B movie and put it into the category of the cheesy B movie. And we say this in the best possible regard. If you want to go ahead and watch a completely turn your brain off, enjoy the fun kind of film, Peters is it, because halfway through you'll realize, wait a minute, my brain just clicked on and holy crap, my brain is actually enjoying this because there's intelligence to what they're doing. They've actually thought about what they're doing. This is stupid. Wait, they've explained it. That's stupid. They've acknowledged it and gone with it anyway. And all of a sudden, it elevates a cheesy, brainless B movie into a guilty pleasure for the intellect, to be perfectly honest.
I wouldn't even call it. Yes, okay.
You know,
I wouldn't call it a guilty pleasure in general. I'll openly admit I love this freaking movie. I genuinely did, like, 100, like, start to finish.
No, I say a guilty pleasure for the intellect because...
And it's one of the few movies, and I'm not just talking on the indie side of things, I'm talking... It's one of the few movies in a long while that I literally can't think of any bit I had a problem with. I'm like, I literally can't.
As I said, the only detractions from the film are, at the same time, it's the cheesiness. Only because there are so many cliched things in it. All of these things, you have to acknowledge they're there, but they don't detract from it too largely, because if anything, they work into the style of movie and are played off of. There are times when you'll be looking at it going, for God's sake, and then all of a sudden something will happen. They'll say something or they'll do something and you'll be like,
Holy monkeys,
oh,
sorry about that.
okay, well, that's not only...
Say to Twitter there before we...
By Twitter. Well, that's one experiment down the drain. But yeah, what?
Yeah.
The cheesy elements are the point of the film. They could be detrimental, because there's a lot of times when cheese movies are just Gouda or some other type of cheese. But no, this is cheddar. Pure, mature, high quality, lovely tasting cheddar. And it just works on so many levels. Like the Deadly One said, it's hard to think of anything where you're kind of going, because anytime that you do see something where you're going,
anything,
it gets explained or used or just taken on board and fuck it, shit's going sideways, run with it.
Oh my God. I just really liked it. For, like, literally lighting to everything. Even the sounds of the bits getting broken and cut and mashed were just...
I feel there was a little bit of fixation at one point on certain parts of the female anatomy. In regards, there was a couple of death scenes, but that fixation is, to be perfectly honest, perfectly acceptable. And I think kind of a deliberate...
the death implements.
I think it was done deliberately to poke fun at all those films that have gone the puerile route. You know, kind of a case of, you focused on this, so will we, in this way. You know. One death in particular, I actually went, no! And it was heart-wrenching to see such beauty being destroyed, while at the same time it was kind of awesome to see it being done so well. I think it's a pitchfork.
That was very well put, I like that.
Yeah. The horns of something get used as a weapon.
Oh, it's a shush, no more. Because ordinarily we go way too much into movies because myself and Giz have oddly photographic-like memories when it comes to watching movies.
Can't remember what I had for dinner yesterday, but you asked me about a film I saw a decade ago.
Also, the majority
I can click my fingers again, my hands.
The majority of the movies we've been covering recently have been on a theme night. So we've been doing older stuff, so you should have seen them by that stage. Whereas Peter's, on the other hand, is but fresh. So
where can people find it?
On VOD. Take a look at the website and all of that. Peter's The Movie on Facebook, or you'll find them tagged in the links below, or not in the links below, in the writing.
All that social media stuff you were doing at the start.
Active link, I believe is the word. I learned things. So, any more to be said on Peter's?
Go watch it.
Go watch it.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's literally all I can say. Go watch it. Go watch the end of the trailer first.
Fair play to the makers, fair play to the actors, fair play to the actresses.
Yeah. And from what I understand, we should have the ability to chat to some of them. I don't have definitive dates yet, but we're in talks. So we'll keep that under wraps for the moment. So now we're going to cut to another little advert from our guys whose page you're watching us on now, because the guys whose page you're watching...
Faceless Mike's Game
Faceless
Basement.
Mike's Game Basement, which you can check out on Twitch.
Raven has stuff on it.
Speaking of Twitch, hope you all got Twitch. Not that kind of Twitch.
Okay.
Hope you all got Twitch, because in the next week or two, from what I understand, we are going to be relocating over to Twitch, and we will be still doing the occasional show on Facebook, because we love you guys on Facebook.
Hang on. You mean we're going to be doing a show on the same thing that I watch all my Street Fighter tournaments on?
Yes. How out of 10 months of doing a show together, man, is that the most excited I've seen you?
Street Fighter! Excuse me
This
for
is
what?
literally one.
Excuse
This
me
is why
for-
we need a third person, because this is
Excuse me for
literally
one
what I'm dealing with.
One moment.
We will be doing that. Yeah, that'll be happening. Don't worry.
I need to practice a lot.
Yeah. So anyway, eventually we'll be moving on to Twitch, and there's going to be loads of cool shows going on Twitch. I don't know why I keep saying it like Twitch. It's like that that bit in Family Guy, you know, when Stewie overpronounces Cool Whip. Whip. Say cool. Say whip. Say cool whip.
Anyway.
Twitch. So, rounding out the show, we got a little bit more horror news, and then we're going to let you beautiful people go. So, first up is there's some rumblings in Camp Crystal Lake at the moment.
Yeah, bit of litigation going
It's
on.
the not nice side of horror.
Yeah.
Well, not so much horror. It's the not nice side of the film industry.
Yeah. Basically, writer Victor Miller, who wrote the original Friday the 13th, is in kind of a legal battle to get rights to the Jason Voorhees character. His notion being that he was the one that created it. Blah blah blah. Sean S. Cunningham, who is the director, producer, maker, is claiming that Victor Miller was basically what it comes down to is, was Victor Miller paid for a one-time job, or was he basically contracted as part of this thing, and what rights he might have to basically renegotiate.
And he says,
passing
on messages.
To basically renegotiate the deals of the contract that exists at the time, insofar as what he might be entitled to with rights to the Jason Voorhees character. This has led to the latest Friday the 13th stuff basically being tied up until all this litigation can be sussed.
Yeah, because if you remember, we had, there weren't even rumours, it was pretty much confirmed there was a new Friday the 13th coming out.
Yeah.
Which they were going to make bigger, better and scarier, which ordinarily they always say.
Yeah.
And it's probably not, but for some reason I had a lot of confidence in them this time. They seemed very, we're actually going to make it bigger, better and scarier.
Now, one of the crux of this legal argument lies on the fact that, as we covered previously in our Friday the 13th Gorecast, the film itself, when it first started out, it was just basically a loose kind of screenplay, and they were lacking in a lot of things, including funding. So Cunningham goes along and basically gets an advertising company to make up this poster, and they create the Friday the 13th.
What I saw in one of the documentaries was he said, we had a cool concept and an awesome logo.
Well, I think
an awesome poster. Sorry, that was it.
Yeah, and the poster is basically what he used to kind of get funding, talk people into it, and all the rest of it.
Because people saw this awesome poster, and it was kind of very, it was 3D lettering, evil, bloodied up.
Yeah. Now, what Cunningham is saying is that at this time, the screenplay, there was a treatment. There wasn't even a screenplay. There wasn't a script or anything done. And that Miller's work was very bones. It was just the bones of things. They hadn't developed any character. Something about Jason.
Presumably at that stage, he would have
still
still been called Josh.
Well, no, it wasn't even that. It
It
was before that, because they were still working on the notion of Jason's mother, Pamela? No. Jason's mother being the one that was doing the killing. So because
Mrs. Voorhees.
Yeah, Mrs. Voorhees. Because Jason, I think Cunningham was actually, he was giving a deposition under oath, and one of the things he said was that Miller couldn't have created the character because at the time when the script or the treatment was done, Jason Voorhees was dead. Therefore, there was no character to create. He was just a plot device.
Yes, this is true.
So because he's just a plot device, the development of the character, which would have happened in the later films, would have had nothing to do with
This
Victor
is
Miller.
actually totally true. Yes.
Yeah. Now, Miller states that there was an earlier script or something that he had done, and they're trying to track down a secretary that might have been around at the time to verify, because she would have seen the script or whatever, wherein the Jason Voorhees character is developed more, maybe? I don't know.
Well, presumably. They basically need to be able to date Jason Voorhees.
The character being
actually alive and existent before the movie.
And more so, and as I said, it's not, this thing, it wouldn't be, as far as I know, Victor Miller, he's not looking to stop anything from being done. He's not looking to stick his oar in. What he's looking to do is basically get rights.
He would get creative rights as well, though, so he could cock block something if they didn't want.
Possibly, I think for him.
That goddamn boss.
I killed the one that followed me home.
I swear I think it's the same one.
It's not. Trust me. That's bigger. Anyway,
Don't suspect them.
what he's hoping to do is basically work things out in such a way that he can renegotiate terms, because apparently it was a one-time payment that Cunningham gave him pretty much from his own pocket back in the day. So Miller is looking to renegotiate terms, maybe get a piece of the pie insofar as merchandising, definitely insofar as royalties when back...
As far as anything.
Yeah. Whatever
He's
about,
been out of the loop, lads.
yeah, well, whatever about backdating royalties, he'll definitely be looking to get royalties for,
Any
whatever.
new stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. So that case is ongoing. Hopefully we'll have more news about it. Did something die behind us?
Yeah, it's okay. I got it.
I knew something had died. But hopefully we'll be bringing you more news in regards to that in the coming weeks, because Friday the 13th is definitely something we are up on. We would all be looking forward to a new film.
That was ironic that just as we were talking about that, the mask of Jason just flashed out. Yeah, so I hope it gets resolved soon, because I really want to see this new Jason movie. I've got my cravings. It's been a while.
I'd be curious to see if
Everyone's gone off the slashers for the moment. They all seem to have gone.
Isn't there a TV series called Slashers?
Yes, that's actually really good. I want to do that.
Is it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Okay, might be something for the future.
They're doing it like American Horror Story, so it's not. It's a different slasher every season. So this one was very
Okay, so like with American Horror Story, I might like one season.
possibly.
Unlike with American Horror Story, hopefully I'll like the entire season, not just all the way up until the last 3 episodes when they decided to turn it into a pile of drain. For those of you that don't know, I only like the second season of American Horror Stories. I'm not a fan of the rest.
Yeah, the second season is amazing.
It's the nuns.
From what I understand, it's going to be very Friday the 13th-ish, which is actually good because it ties in the second season. This one, if I was to put a pin in
Halloween?
it, I would say, yeah, I'd say very
I've heard a lot of
Halloween.
people say the first season is very Halloween.
Yeah. More psychological, but yeah, really cool killers, some really cool deaths. Definitely give it a watch.
Sticking in the theme of TV shows, another big kind of long-running... I like to use the word horror, but unfortunately it's on the CW, so I don't... That line, I don't know how far we can stretch it, but I've always been...
It's got monsters in it.
Yeah.
They fight monsters.
Yeah.
Monsters kill people.
Yeah.
There's some awesome people.
Yeah, okay,
getting
horror.
Killed. It's a horror.
Supernatural is getting crossed over with Scooby-Doo. They announced it during the week and it's going to be animated. Ha!
Yeah, so if you check out our Gorecast Twitter page or Facebook page or iHorror's page, because that's where we looked it up, iHorror.com. It's got a really cool image of what the two boyos will look like in Scooby-Doo form.
Now, the thing is, they announced it at a convention recently, and I think people actually thought they were taking the piss for like the first couple of seconds, and then they went...
Lads, it's supernatural. You should never think they're taking the piss.
And what's worse is, I actually know how they're going to do it. I can see... Okay,
Go on. Ruin an entire episode before it's even come out.
I'm not going to ruin it. I'm just explaining, like...
No, I'm intrigued. I want to see you put the money where the mouth is and then the episode come out.
So I just watched the season...
You're probably going to be right.
I just watched the season finale for season 12 of Supernatural. Now, without ruining too much, something mad is going on, which basically means that there's all kinds of... Something is coming. This something that is coming has caused all sorts of mad phenomena to occur.
Phenomena.
Phenomena.
Anyway.
Including tears in reality itself. Now, for those of you that are long-time watchers of Supernatural, you realise they've actually kind of pulled this stunt before, when once upon a time Gabriel jackbooted Sam and Dean into our world and made them trade places with Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki, which was fucking hilarious.
He was a llama.
What?
He was a llama.
An alpaca.
Whatever.
And he's married to Ruby, which freaked Dean the fuck out.
I thought we had 619 viewers there. I was going to kick you in the face. But it's 616.
We are not doing a Rey Mysterio Jr. thing. Junior, because he's on Lucha Underground now. Anyway. In the latest episode, there is a rip in reality itself, which allows people to go to an alternate reality. In fact, it's even stated, Sam and Dean even mentioned the fact that they have been to an alternate reality, and mentioned the fact that they got jackbooted to the world whereby, you know, Dean was something called a Jensen and Sam was something called a Jared Padalecki,
What's a patalaki?
That is exactly what they said. No, I swear to the gods, it was hilarious. So, with that in mind, if you're a long-time fan of Supernatural, you will understand completely that when you have a doorway that leads to a place that isn't the normal world, and it is the end of a season, it is only a matter of time before some character invariably ends up getting stuck in that other world. That's not ruining too much if you're a long-time fan of Supernatural. So, with that in mind, a character gets stuck in this other world, which means the boys are going to be trying to do a whole Tesla and rip a hole in reality itself. Whether or not they go the scientific route, whereby all matter is
feel like it's going to
energy
be
condensed
magic.
into a slow-moving vibration.
I feel like it's going to be magic. And
Yeah,
I feel like
probably.
they're going to kind of like reverse ring into the fucking TV.
Yeah, that's actually like I can or okay, boys, we figured out how to rip a hole in reality, and we accidentally got the spell a little bit wrong, or the science a little bit wrong, and now they've stepped down through into Scooby-Doo!
I love you, Renton.
Okay, straight up, I imagine we are going to get Velma. I reckon Velma's going to be all over Sam. And Daphne, Dean and Daphne, fucking...
Oh, Fred is not going to be happy. Fred is not... Oh.
I'll tell you one thing that's
Oh
not
my
going
God,
to be...
can you imagine Dean
I'll tell you
talking
what-
to Fred?
Oh, dude, I tell you one thing that's not going to be happening. Fucking Dean and
Fucking-
Sam.
yes,
hang on.
that's right.
Dean and Sam are not going to be checking out no fucking basements with Scooby and Daphne, or with Scooby and Shaggy, while Fred checks up the upstairs bedrooms with Daphne and Velma.
I
Not
can
this
actually-
time around. Nuh-uh.
I can actually see there being a lot of Fred stuck with Shaggy, kind of like, I can see how you feel now. You know, that kind of thing.
I think it's going to be fucking hee-haw hilarious.
I think this is nice as well because like there hasn't been anything really kind of Scooby-Doo. What, you nearly pissed yourself there, wasn't it?
I can't wait for them to put off a mask and it's like, it was the demon all along.
I can see when their dad. Imagine if it was their dad, but from.
That's not John Winchester. It was Crowley all along.
What
That
if,
would
what
fuck
if,
with
what if
me.
it was the
That
dad, but he wasn't the dad? He was him from. He was Negan. They're in cartoon world now. Like literally anything can fucking happen.
They did reference the
I know, yeah,
baseball.
they had Lucille.
That was hilarious, man. Dad loved this thing.
I called it Lucille there. You wanted to inform everybody that it is in fact.
Mick Foley's favorite plaything. He never needed to give it a name. He just set it on fire and
I
beat
call
people
it
with it.
Smashy Stick.
The fun pole.
That sounds bad.
Barbed wire baseball bat. It doesn't need a name. Except when it's on fire, and then it's called fucking terrifying. What? It's true.
I never said it wasn't.
Not as bad as a flaming towel wrapped chair, as old Terry Funk accidentally found out.
He, like, you know the way Tommy Dreamer was the innovator of violence?
Tommy Dreamer will will openly admit that he is like a poor man's Terry Funk. No, actually,
if you hadn't cut me off, I was going to say that you know the way he was like the innovator of violence. What does that make Tommy fucking, or what does that make Terry Funk?
indestructible.
I wouldn't call him indestructible.
I would. Have you seen some of the shit he's done?
Yeah, he's got broke up pretty.
That flaming towel was scary.
Yeah,
For everyone involved.
anything flamey is scary. So I just checked the time right. Oh, good. That's pretty good.
Anyway, moving away from... Well, no, actually, it's still horrible violence now that I think about it. As I said, I think I can see how they're going to do the animated Supernatural episode.
Oh.
I'm curious to know how far they'll take the violence level.
I'm wondering, will Scooby make it out?
I can't wait to see what makes Velma go jinkies.
It's going to be Dean, you know it.
She is going to be all over Sam. He's the smart one. Everyone knows intelligence is sexy.
Yes, this is true, but this is Velma.
Yeah, and she's a sexy intelligent...
She's pent up. Dean...
Pent up nothing. I've seen stuff with herself and Daphne.
That is non-canon.
Not in my world.
But in the rest of the world, the actual world, it's non-canon. That's called cosplay.
It's called damn good porn.
Yep.
Anyway, we can conjecture as to what the Supernatural animated episode is going to be like. Either way, we're going to have to wait But to be perfectly honest, a frag long time.
12 months.
No, not that. No, not that long. Because
Didn't you just watch the finale yesterday?
Which means that in 12 months, season 13 will be ending.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. How many?
September.
What is it, like 20-something episodes, isn't it?
23.
23, okay.
Well, that's usually it.
September. Okay.
Considering they're after announcing this one,
Well, it starts up like around the same time as Flash and everything.
Yeah, they all start together. It's the
CW.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had a slow moment there.
I reckon this will actually be an episode that happens early on, given the nature, which I think will play exactly into how I think the episode will happen.
Drop at Halloween. They love doing a crazy fucking episode around Halloween. Halloween's like their Christmas.
No, they've done a couple of good Christmas episodes too for Christmas.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not taking away from the Christmas episodes, but I'm saying, like, it's a horror show, so Halloween is its Christmas.
Or
Did you see me doing the 7 days of Christmas this
Thanksgiving.
year? No.
Hang on, Thanksgiving. They, if I remember correctly, for
Yeah, okay, Thanksgiving, I'd accept that.
Well, it's not just that. If I remember correctly, the Thanksgiving episode tends to be a bit off the wall anyway.
Because people are all hopped up on turkey.
Yeah, I'm going to stop.
Super full of bird and super full of supernatural. That's a lot of supers in one super sentence.
Well, look, the one thing that we know the Scooby-Doo Supernatural episode is going to be is awesome.
Hilarious.
Awesome.
Which is what I'm going to be. Probably.
While watching it?
There it is, yeah.
Well, I usually am, so yeah.
Yeah, damn straight. Was there anything else we needed to cover?
Nope, I think that pretty much rounds it out for this week. I'm sure there's probably other stuff that we've forgotten, but, you know.
I post up a lot of news during the week, and then we kind of just pick 4 or 5. Because I don't think you want to see us for 2 hours. I don't think most people want to see us for an hour.
Some people might.
7 people did.
Well,
like full time. So coming up during the week, we got Anna Nightmares, which will be Thursday coming, and there might be some myself and Gizzers filming some super secret shit tomorrow. So there might be some behind the scenes Twittery shit.
You're really trying to boost that Twitter thing, aren't you?
Yep.
While we're here and while we're talking about boosting
@ the Gorecast on Twitter, if anybody's watching it.
Yep. As always,
I'm trying to boost everything, Giz. It's kind of the whole point.
Which is what I was just about to get to. If you want to see some of the other stuff we've done, you can go check out the Emerald Gore Society's YouTube page while it's there and while
YouTube.com/EmeraldGore.
While YouTube lets it last. We're going to be going over to Twitch soon.
It's not kicking us off.
Yeah.
It just won't let us make any money.
Yeah, but subscribe anyway. If you would like to help us out insofar as we've got plans, we have stuff that we want to do. So apparently they've set up some Patreon thing for us, whereby you can donate money, which will go into funding new equipment, new effects, new shows, and it will also go towards, we're going to be doing exclusive episodes. So if you're on Patreon.
Yeah, you also, if you're on Patreon, you can request reviews and things like that.
Yeah.
There's also some cool talks from Screenvention with Tony Todd and Ari and Kane Hodder, and
I'm in a few of those, aren't I?
You are presenting the majority. They've got Giz in them, filmed by Misha and Simon.
It was taken very, very unawares by the entire circumstances of stuff.
You can see there's two of them up on YouTube that you can check out. They'll be up for another week or two before they come down.
Twitching.
The Hellhound's twitching. He's finally made it onto a Gorecast. Right, for it.
Wait for it.
Oh! Good God. Okay, wait, sit. Okay, well, now that you're in. Okay, right. So, wait. Put your balls out, dude. Okay, we all have to do Gorecast out.
Okay. Big yawn.
Okay. I can't. Wait, can you,
what?
Will you click the button when we do Gorecast out? Okay, Tuco. Seeing as you're in. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Gorecast out.